And a good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special Westerosi Ninja Election 2020 stream, where we will be given a preview of the Iowa caucuses that will be held this upcoming Monday, February the 3rd, 2020. Okay, it's a Monday, not a Tuesday. It's different than your regular voting days. Anyway, it will be the first statewide vote in what I believe will be the most critical election in our lifetimes here. Okay, the impact, the significance of the results of this upcoming election will pretty much, I think, impact the next 20 years or so of U.S. policy. Anyway, so the enthusiasm is really, really high for these caucuses, okay, based on the news. And I'm pretty excited as well for this. So let's go ahead and get started. Anyway, joining me tonight is the self-proclaimed K-pop expert herself, Felicia, my partner on many trivia streams over the past 2.5 years, to give her insights on what we can expect on Monday night. So, Felicia, welcome, and give a brief intro about yourself and where you think you lie on the political spectrum here.
So, hey everybody, it's Felicia, obviously. Well, I don't consider myself, I'm not registered as a Democrat or Republican. So I consider myself non-affiliated. Like, I voted for a Republican governor for my state, but everything else I've always voted Democrat. I've only voted Republican once, so I'm not going to say I'm that open. But, yep, I feel like I'm kind of an undecided voter. Rhode Island primaries won't be for a while. So by the time they come, it's my turn to vote. More than half these people are going to be out anyways. And I've already flip flopped between like 9 of them as it is. So I feel like I have a good opinion of an undecided voter.
Okay, in terms of your views on social issues, would you consider yourself more liberal or more conservative?
I'm definitely more liberal on most social issues.
What about with
You
respect
guys
to
know.
what about with respect to economic issues?
See that I should have more of an opinion on that, but because I don't like have a job or like work, I really don't.
Yes, she
No.
is the epitome of the slacker voter right here. Anyway, I think everybody knows what my viewpoints are on a political spectrum. So I think we should go ahead and start. Why don't we?
Let me try to say something. I think what are you? You're like more of a social liberal, but a physical conservative.
No, no, no. I'm an economic populist who's socially, who basically leans
Liberal,
right.
leaning.
Basically leans right on social issues. So.
Well, lately you have, yes.
Okay. Anyway, but besides that, yeah, I mean things
You're more
change.
liberal than you want to admit, though. It's
Okay,
okay.
things change. Well, some certain things, other things, I'm very, I'm very not too keen on. Okay, but anyway, I don't want to lose any subscribers, obviously. So let's get off of that. Let's get off of that discussion, and let's get into the most important part of the stream, which is I want to stress that any opinions given tonight are not necessarily representative of all current collaborators on this channel, nor future guests. So, as I do live streams and videos on a bunch of different subjects, all right. So that is the disclaimer is written down on the stream info, and I think we should go ahead and start, Felicia. Why don't we with
Yes.
the first slide, which is basically the details of the Iowa Democratic caucuses here. Okay, so they're going to happen. Okay, they're going to be held on Monday, February 3rd, 2020. Okay, and this is also in conjunction with the GOP, the Republican caucuses as well. Okay, but we're not going to talk about the Republican caucuses because it's already a foregone conclusion who's going to win that nomination, and basically the contest is really on the Democratic side. So we're going to focus on the Democratic caucuses for this stream here. The time is going to start at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, okay? And supposedly it's going to last about an hour, okay? But it'll be like
That's
an
it.
hour of total craziness, okay?
That doesn't feel like long enough. Only an hour for all
that
these people to
that
vote.
that sounds kind of weird. Anyway, the locations, okay, of these where these caucuses are going to be held, they are going to be held across 1,678 precinct locations. Okay, that is a lot of locations. Okay, and these are things like people's homes, public libraries, and school gymnasiums. Okay, spread out over 99 counties in Iowa. Okay, it's pretty intense. Okay, and who can vote? Well, the caucuses in Iowa are open. That is, any registered voter in the state can actually participate in these Iowa caucuses here. Okay, big difference between what primaries are and caucuses. Okay, everybody always asks about that. A primary is your standard voting process that you're probably all familiar with, right? In general elections, you basically go into a precinct, uh, voting, location, step into a private, voting booth, and cast your votes. Very simple, okay? Caucuses are completely different, okay? Caucuses are just like reminds me of like what it would have been like in the old Greek democracies where you had all these men in an open forum and they're basically just voting out in public and everybody knows who you're voting for and everybody's taking sides and people are just basically clumping together in their own little groups and yelling at each other until some decision is actually made and some vote is actually counted. That is what a caucus is, okay? It's wide open. Everybody,
Chaos.
everybody knows who you're voting for. Your neighbors know. Your boss knows if they show up. And the beautiful part of this is that you should not be targeted or punished if people uh, know who you're voting for. But I think it's great. I think it's a great system. I wish
I
more
did
states would.
not. Hmm.
What?
My mind is being blown right now. I'm
Yeah.
learning so much.
Yeah, I think this is a great system. I think more. I hope more. I wish more states would do this. Iowa does this. Nevada does this, which is basically one of the early states in a few weeks, and I think there's a couple more in the primary season, in
Why
the
do you think
nomination
this is
season that goes.
better?
Well, I like the idea of people's votes
Less
being out in the
privacy?
open.
I don't
Well,
like the idea of less privacy.
well, I mean, it depends, right? I mean, some people like to be very private with their votes, right? So they
Well,
would
I'm very open
prefer
about who I vote
primaries.
for. I'll tell people,
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah, caucus to me is just to me it's more of a it's more of a populist way to vote, right? It's right because it's like real democracy in action, right? You got a bunch of people together in a room voting for a candidate or voting for a certain issue, you know.
I
And
just feel like
then
this is going to open
there's a
floodgates.
there's a lot of discussion debate amongst the crowd, and they have chances to be persuaded to switch sides if they want to.
Oh, so
Okay.
you can have like
I,
Bloomberg can just like be sitting in Iowa yelling from the corner, vote for me, vote for me. That's totally
okay,
legal.
okay, and I'll get through in another slide what the process is. Okay, but again, two different schools of thoughts here. Primaries are easier to run, obviously, right? All you gotta do is set up a ballot location, go in there and vote, and you're done, right? Caucuses is a big deal in terms of setting up the locations, getting people to register, and sorting people out left and right into the different groups, if you will. Okay, groups in the context of this stream is groups behind certain candidates. Okay, all within a gym or a school. Okay, or in somebody's house in some parts. Okay,
That's
so
interesting, the house thing.
yeah. Yeah, and Bridge 4 is saying in the chat, yeah, in New Jersey this wouldn't fly. There would be fights everywhere, probably.
Yeah.
I can see that anywhere in New England.
I was gonna say anything with a new in its name,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, thanks a lot,
New
Kev, for
England, New
showing
York, New
up.
Jersey, New Mexico. Oh
Hmm.
yeah, I could see it all.
And thanks a lot, Peter Griffin, for showing up too. So we have a couple of rabid progressives in the stream here, which is great. And nobody else is bothering to show up, but that's okay. So
That's because it's
anyway,
politics and it's divisive.
yes,
People are gonna get offended somehow. Some way, someone's gonna get
yeah.
upset.
And cool. So again, thanks a lot, guys, for showing up. And since it's such a kind of a intimate crowd here, we'll go ahead and just basically answer any questions that anybody has in the chat. Felicia, if you don't mind, just check on the stream
Yeah,
and
I'm
basically.
paying attention.
So we are
That's why
good
I
to
keep looking
go.
down.
We are good to go here. In terms of the map of Iowa, okay, Iowa obviously has two senators and four representatives in Congress right now, right? And they're basically depicted by the different colors. So there's four congressional districts in Iowa. Each congressional district has a certain number of counties, obviously, and then each county has a certain number of precincts, depending on the population. So you can have one county with like 10 precincts, and you got one county that's like very rural with nobody in it, only has one precinct to go there. Okay, so that's how it works in terms of how many precincts locations are probably determined. It's probably determined by population within a county. Anyway, let's go ahead and start with the process. Okay. This process is great. I love it. Open forum. Okay. Basically, it consists of two rounds of caucusing. Okay. In the first round, basically the first one determines the initial candidate viability. Okay, the viability threshold is 15% of the assembled crowd. When I say viability, what it means is that once a candidate is viable, they qualify to get candidates. Okay, so if they fall underneath 15%, they don't qualify for any delegates. Okay, so basically, voters that are supporting candidates who initially meet this viability threshold are locked in. Okay, so basically, they can't move around afterwards. They just go ahead and basically turn their cards in and go home. Okay, and the candidates who meet the viability threshold obviously are locked in as well. Okay, so now, well, they automatically qualify for a delegate. Okay, now the crazy part is the realignment process. Okay, at that point, if any candidate does not meet that viability threshold of 15%, their supporters can do one of three things. Okay, their voters can go to another candidate. Okay, they can try to attract other voters from other candidates to come into their group and support their guy or gal. Or three, they can just stay with their original pick, turn their cards in, and go home and say, screw the rest of them, okay? I'm still voting for this guy, even though they're not viable, okay? After that's done, okay, so this is the crazy part. This is the crazy realignment process. This is where you have all these people trying to tell everybody else, come here, come here, come here, and then you have other groups saying, don't go there, don't go there, don't go there, that kind of thing. And then in the second round, is the final determination of candidate viability. So once the realignment process is done, you know, uh, we determine who the final can no who we determine who the viable candidates are in a particular location. They're locked in. Everybody else who don't meet the 15%, they don't get any delegates from that precinct, from that location, and we're ready to rock. So Felicia, here's a quiz for you. If you were listening to this,
Hmm.
say after the first round, okay, of caucusing, and I have this little picture here. There's three groups of
Yep.
people. Elizabeth Warren has 13% of the caucus, okay? Bernie Sanders has 25% of the caucus, and Amy Klobuchar has 3% of the caucus, the entire crowd. What
What's
can
the
the
question?
what can the Amy Klobuchar people do?
She could try to attract other people to come vote for her,
Yeah, to reach
or
that
they can
15%.
just,
Okay.
or they could vote for somebody else. They could vote for somebody else, or try to attract other people to vote for her, or they could just keep stand in their position and go home. There's only three options.
Exactly. Now Warren is at
And
13%.
you don't give a quiz when the answers are right there.
No, no, no. Warren is at 13%. She does not meet
Viability, no.
viability. So what do you think those Warren voters are going to do? Try to do?
Well, if I was a Warren voter, I'd go to Sanders personally. That's what I think would happen, right?
No, no, no. The Warren voters will probably most likely, if they really love her, they're going to try to get the votes from Klobuchar to basically
Oh
reach
yeah.
that 15%, right?
I
Viability.
don't think Klobuchar voters are going to go for her though, personally. I
You
think she
never
would.
know.
If I was of Sanders, I mean, if I was a Warren supporter, I would try to pick off a different crowd,
Hmm.
not hers. I'd go for a progressive crowd than the centrist, personally.
Hmm.
If I was a strategist.
Yeah, yeah, Kev. I mean, I didn't mean to talk to her like a second grader, but I thought it was kind of funny though. So anyway.
No, he warned me. He said there was going to be pop quizzes, so I've been paying attention.
Yeah, and below is a picture in a basketball court, which could be one of these caucus sites. And look how crazy it is here. You basically have two groups of people, right? You got a big group in the middle, and then you have another group on the upper left-hand corner of the basketball gymnasium, and then you might have another group on the lower left-hand side. I can't tell if they're like part of the big group in the middle or they're like their own separate group. But anyway, this is how crazy these caucuses could be. So
You'll probably get to it in the next slide, but how many names are on the ballot?
there are, I think, I don't really know. I mean, there are eight major candidates. I'm not sure if there
Yeah,
are
but
any
how
in
many
the
people
local.
actually made it onto the ballot?
I think eight or nine. Eight, I
Oh,
think.
us.
I think eight made it in, and Bloomberg's like a write-in. But I don't want to get into that, okay? But
Yeah, yeah.
anyway, there's
That's for a different time.
there's eight major candidates basically who are
Hmm.
polling greater than 2% on an Iowa average. Okay, let's just
Yep.
leave it at that. Okay, and I mean I'm sure there are other Democratic candidates out there who are local who think
Mm.
they have a
I'm
chance,
just
but they don't.
wondering
Okay.
what are the what do you need to make the ballot? Like to get your name on the ballot, what are the qualifications?
What the qualifications that you need to get on the ballot is basically signatures. You need X number of signatures from each county.
Okay.
Simple.
I
Okay.
didn't know that. See?
Yeah.
I'm a bad voter. I've only voted once, twice.
Yes, the epitome of the uninformed voters we have right here. The
The first
typical.
time I
She
voted,
is the typical American voter, guys.
I've only voted twice. I voted in 2016 general.
Okay.
Yeah, 2016 primaries in general and the midterms. That's it.
All right. So let's go ahead and start. Okay. So that is the process. Now, what happens? Okay. How do we determine a winner, or how does Iowa determine a winner on Monday night after all this stuff is said and done? The state party is going to release three different results here, so which is kind of confusing in a way, right? I mean, I don't know why they just don't say who the winner is,
Yeah, that
but
okay.
the reason why they do this is for analysis sake, okay? Which is actually good for like the news media, the media outlets around there. Basically, the first thing I'm going to do is release results of the statewide preference, okay, after the first alignment, okay? It's really after the first caucus, okay? So after that
Hmm.
first vote, okay, people are going to record it at each of these locations and see who basically, initially became viable, if you will. The second results are going to be is going to be the results after the second round of canvassing. Okay, so that is after the realignment process. Okay, so they're going to see what happens after that. I mean, you would get an idea of like who's somebody's second choice, if you will, right?
Hmm.
And that's important. Right? You want to know who somebody's second choice is. I mean, this is as close to a ranked choice election voting system as there is in the country, actually. Okay, so I mean, I'm not sure if you're familiar with ranked choice voting, but this is
Yes.
very close to a ranked choice voting structure here. Then lastly, the state party is going to release the final state delegate equivalents, okay, SDEs, okay. That is based on the number of people in each candidate's corner, okay, from each location using some complicated worksheet to figure out the number. Okay, but only those above 15%, right? If your candidate did not make that viability threshold in a location, they're out.
I
I
have a
mean,
question.
their percentage will be represented in part one or part two, okay? But they're out if they don't meet the 15%. Yes,
I have a
Felicia?
question.
Yes.
So let's take a random candidate. Let's use Klobuchar again.
Hmm.
Let's say she does well. There, you said there's four districts. I mean, there's four.
Yeah, but we're not. Go ahead. Okay, congressional
So is this
districts, there's four of them.
statewide? So like my question is, say Klobuchar gets over 15 in two of the four locations or
No,
the
no,
districts.
no. You're confused here.
Is it
Okay,
statewide or is it per?
it's
Are the
it's
delegates
it's per precinct, per county,
precinct?
per
Yeah,
state,
got it.
right? It goes crazy. Okay, congressional districts are not part of this whole deal, right?
It goes. It's statewide. It's,
Yeah,
so if she does
statewide.
well in
Yeah.
two districts but does poorly in the other two,
No, no,
but
no. Yeah, but
it's all about is it
it's
state average or is
it's
it
no,
precinct
it's even
average?
more granular than that. Okay,
I'm so
it's
confused.
even more granular than that. Okay, it's
Never lived
basically
in Iowa.
you get SDEs based on your results in a precinct location. Okay,
Does it average though? Like say
there isn't
she
no average. It's absolute numbers here. There's no average. It's
I don't
absolute
get it.
numbers.
So it's not statewide. Statewide doesn't matter.
What?
It's all about
No.
individual
The
districts.
absolute numbers basically is a representation of the statewide vote, right? Because you're combining the results from each precinct, right?
Yeah, so
Okay.
say hypothetically she gets over 15% in nine precincts, but under in two. Does it average
No, there's no
or is it?
averaging. It's sheer
I'm very
number of
confused.
delegates. Okay, it's sheer number of delegates.
Delegates for the state.
No. The state delegate equivalents. Okay,
I don't get it.
dude, it's simple, right? It's basically just
Primaries are so much more simple.
yeah. Primaries are a lot easier to understand, right? You basically put a vote in the ballot booth and away you go. Okay, and they tabulate it and boom, it tells you a percentage. Okay, your state delegate equivalents are based on your performance, right? At each precinct location, right?
Yes.
That's all it is, statewide. It doesn't matter about congressional districts and that kind of BS, right? It's going to be at each precinct location, okay? And there's 1,678 of them in the state, all right?
So you have to get over 15% in all of them?
No. You can get 15% in five of them if you want to, right? And there's a chance you might still pick up a delegate to the national convention.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't get it, but I'll pretend like
Okay.
I do.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
I don't live in Iowa, so this doesn't affect me.
Yeah. You don't know this. Okay. Anyway, next slide is how delegates are actually selected for the national convention. Okay. Iowa has 41 delegates here. Okay.
That's a lot.
Okay. That's not that many. Okay. California has like over 500,
I
300,
only have
400. Okay.
four.
No, you
Well,
don't.
no, I have
No, you don't. You have more than that
I have
probably.
four members of Congress. I have
No,
four
we're talking about
electoral votes.
delegates. We're not talking about members of Congress here, okay? Delegates are based on population, okay? Whatever formula that the Democratic Party wants to use, okay? So the caucus
I wonder how many
goers from the
delegates.
1,678 precincts in Iowa, right, determine 11,402 delegates, okay? These are the state delegate equivalents I was talking about, okay? This is based off of the caucuses from the 1,678 precinct locations, okay? That will be reduced to 41 in three steps. Okay, so basically these 11,400 people will go to the county conventions. Okay, remember precincts and then counties. Remember that step, right? Okay, on March the 21st, 2020. Okay, so they get filtered down in that step. Then that filtered down number then goes into the congressional district conventions on April the 25th. Again, counties to congressional districts now, right? We're filtering it down. Okay, and then finally they get filtered down to 41 at the state Democratic convention on June the 13th. So it's gonna get reduced from 11,402 delegates to only 41. Okay, And that's gonna be based on basically the total vote percentage, right,
Okay.
of each candidate.
But that's at the convention. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But we'll have an estimate of what it will be by then, right?
Yes, I mean,
Like the votes will be cast at the caucus, and then we'll be able to like
but yeah, but
the
you have to
politicians and
remember,
pundits will be
but
able to
remember,
calculate.
but you have to remember at these conventions, at the county level, at the congressional level, at the state level, right? You can still have a bunch of people moving around if they want to. Okay,
Mm,
it's
1 second.
craziness. Okay, it's
I'm
Iowa's
gonna let you do
crazy.
your thing. I think
Okay.
I'm gonna switch devices,
Okay, yeah. Okay, she
but I'm
is going to
here
go on her
listening.
tablet because she's worried about running out of batteries. So anyway, and the National Democratic Convention is going to be on July the 13th to the 16th. Okay, in Milwaukee. No, no, Moni G. We're just talking about Iowa here. Okay, in the caucus system. Most states have a primary system where you just go into a ballot box and vote. Okay,
Okay, not
so
yet.
so we're
Soon.
so Iowa has a caucus system, Nevada has a caucus system, and a couple other states in this whole process has a caucus system. Okay. Yeah, and also winner take all in Michigan applies to electoral college kind of elections, right? It applies to like a general election across the state, where all the electors for one state basically goes, gets voted in, if you will, votes for one person. In these primaries, party primaries, a lot of them aren't winner take all. Okay, they could be divvied up proportionally, which they usually are. Okay, so uh, divorce yourself from the idea of a general election like a presidential election versus party nominations. Okay, completely different. You have to divorce yourself from that kind of uh, thinking, if you will. All
And
right.
anyone can vote. You said anyone could vote.
In
So like,
Iowa, it is an open caucus system, so anyone can vote and can go to these caucuses. In other states, you may have to be a registered Democrat to vote in a primary.
mm,
Okay. Again, state rules, man. State
by
rules.
state, yeah.
Okay. State rules. Divorce yourself from any kind of general election thinking here. Okay. Okay. All right. So that's how the delegate selections are actually determined. Now we're going to switch gears, Felicia. We are going to switch gears here now and talk about, get into the details and basically talk about the top national issues, okay, in the country amongst all voters here, right? Because based on voting preferences and what issue is most important to a voter, they will cast their vote for a particular candidate, okay, who actually supports their positions in these issues here. So this is a chart taken from 2018, right before the 2018 midterms. Nothing's really changed in terms of the top issues for the general electorate in the U.S., the general populace. These are the top basic issues for them, and it's been split out by Democratic voters, Independent voters, and Republican voters here. Okay. And basically on the left hand axis, you can actually see basically what the top issues are, most important down to the least important. And if it's not on here, that means it didn't make the top six, okay, guys? So marijuana legalization obviously is not on here, right? It did not make the top six of top issue, the top six of the most pressing issues amongst the general public, Felicia. So, anyway, yeah. So obviously, what is number one? Well, in terms with respect to Democratic and Independent voters, their top issue is healthcare. Okay. The number one issue with respect to Republican voters is immigration, followed closely by the economy. Okay. What do you think about this, Felicia?
Well, as the person who leans Democratic, yeah,
Hmm.
healthcare is my thing because, well, I don't. Okay, my biggest thing is having birth control, which is healthcare. So yeah, like my biggest priority is not getting pregnant. So healthcare is my biggest priority. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, yep. And it's surprising that the Republicans has it at it had. I mean, it's tied for third with gun policy in the Republican voters. Republicans care more about immigration and the economy, and I think this is very representative of the division in
Hmm.
in America at this point. I mean, how divisive, which which uh, which party sets its priorities. And thanks thanks Oh yeah, Kev has a question about the environment. Okay, this is a national poll. Okay, so it's not just Iowa.
Oh yeah, I didn't make the poll either.
Yeah, so it's nationally, but climate change to me is a big deal. Okay, I mean, in my opinion, it's really healthcare, climate change, and one other thing that didn't make this list here, and that's income inequality. So it's really healthcare, income inequality, and climate change are my top three.
I have a
And
feeling that if they take this poll before this caucus, that would be make the top,
no,
just because
I
with
looked at the
Warren and
Pew.
Sanders.
Yeah, I looked at the Pew Research website prior to this because it wasn't a good graph because it was just basically Democratic voters. Income inequality, believe it or not, is not even in the top five. It's like number 6 or 7 amongst
Well, that's
Democratic
surprising,
voters.
especially
It's very
because
surprising. It's
it's
very
one of
surprising.
like Warren and Bernie's top issues, so that's surprising.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But that's just the way it is, right? In terms of the general public, they don't think about income inequality as much as they do about
Oh
other
yeah,
stuff.
student loan debt's not on here either.
Yeah, no, yeah, neither is marijuana legalization, neither is climate
Because
change and
that's
so
because
forth.
everyone pretty much agrees it should be.
Hmm.
That's a pretty
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
unless it's only like the very diehards who are against it.
yeah. But but to me, I think it's very interesting. I mean, what this pertains to in a general election is that obviously the swing voting bloc is going to be the independents, right? Right. The
Yeah, I
Republican
consider
base
myself an
has
independent.
is going to be it's going to stick hard to their issues. The Democratic base, even though they're all fragmented and chaotic, is going to stick at least to their platform, their positions on these issues. The independents are what you're after, right? And from this
Hmm.
chart at least, independents seem to care a lot about healthcare. So whatever candidate actually appeals to the general electorate, okay, in the general election of president on healthcare, I think has a very strong chance of winning if they can afford to pay for whatever program they're proposing, which is a completely different issue altogether. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, interesting stuff here. So let's get into dig down even further now into the polling in Iowa and see what's happening there right now. So these are the latest polling numbers. Okay, in across the nation and in the early states as well.
What's the error margin of error on these? Do you know?
It's an average of like five. It's an average of the last 5 polls that were done in each category. So there's no error margin.
Okay.
There's no such thing as an average error margin. That's
Yeah, well,
statistically
because I'm that's why I didn't know if this was a
that's
specific poll.
yeah, no, that's statistically incorrect
Yeah.
to have an average error margin. But anyway, let's get into Iowa because that's what we're focusing on here. Okay, in Iowa, okay, Bernie Sanders is in the lead with a 3.6 average lead. Okay, over Joe Biden. Pete Buttigieg is in third place. And coming into a strong fourth, there is Elizabeth Warren. And then everybody else is underneath 10%. Amy Klobuchar at 9.6, Andrew Yang at 3.8. What do you think about that, Felicia?
I think that I'm surprised. The only thing that surprised me is Bloomberg.
Again,
He doesn't belong
Bloomberg
on
is
there.
not on the ballot in Iowa, so it doesn't
Oh, you're talking
matter.
about the Iowa one? Or are you talking?
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
talking about
looking at the
Iowa.
national
That's
one.
what I just said.
Oh, oh no, I was surprised that Bernie made a jump recently. I really thought Biden had
Okay.
it in the bag.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great. And yeah. Now, if you look at it nationally, then yeah,
And Klobuchar, she made
Biden's
a bit of a jump too.
yeah Biden's ahead nationally. Okay, and for what it's worth, with a 3.7% lead on average based on the last
Hmm.
5 polls nationally.
Well,
Okay.
this Iowa poll, there was one that had Buttigieg at top at once. Most of them had Biden, and now the new
Yeah,
ones have
Buttigieg was
Sanders.
on top maybe like a month ago,
For
and
like one in between the debates, there was like
yeah,
a brief time in between the debates where he was number one for some reason.
yeah, he was number one in one poll, but then on average, right, he's flailed the past couple weeks,
Hmm.
and he's been dropping.
I
Okay.
honestly that I like personally I think that it's going to be Biden and Sanders are going to do the best, and then Yang and Klobuchar are going to overperform.
Okay, I mean, I was hoping you waited until the end of the stream to make your predictions,
Oh,
like I was
sorry.
hoping for. But anyway, but
Oh,
good,
but like
good,
the
Felicia.
poll doesn't surprise me though. It's what I
Thank you for telling
expected.
me. All right,
I'm
so
just saying it's what I expected.
okay, now in terms of the rest of the early states, okay, in February, right? New Hampshire looks like Sanders has a lead over Biden there. Warren being
No surprise.
Warren being a New Englander in New Hampshire, no, New Hampshire's regionally is going to be her territory. I mean, she's really struggling.
That's
Okay,
more Sanders territory though,
okay,
because I'm a New Englander, so I give you the New Englanders' perspective of this.
okay.
Like Rhode Island and Mass are pretty close.
Hmm.
Like we consider like that like our sister state. And then Connecticut's just like the outlier, and New Hampshire and Vermont and Maine are like they're part of New England, but this is southern New England, so I don't know. It's not the same kinship in my
Okay.
opinion. So
Yeah, yeah,
the Bernie kinship is definitely there as a senator from Vermont.
yeah.
They're like,
It's right next door to each other. All right, and then in Nevada, it looks like Biden is up ahead, uh, on Sanders in Nevada, and then in South Carolina, Biden's is basically blowing everybody away by 17 points in the polling averages in South Carolina, and yeah, I mean, it looks to me at least right now, based on the early states, it's a two-man race essentially. Okay, and it's a two.
Nevada and South Carolina. That I
Okay.
feel like that's going to be the national. That's what we're going to see now. Oh, actually, no, Yang's not there, so no, I don't agree with that.
I don't
No, I take it
I
back.
honestly don't think any of these states represent or representative of a national poll. I think Super Tuesday is going to be where the national polling, the national results are going to be more representative, I guess, or more predictive on this Super Tuesday than
Again,
just
I don't get to vote till after Super
okay,
Tuesday,
than
and
just
it
a vote
sucks.
in one of these places. That's all I'm gonna say there. Anyway, betting odds. Okay, everybody loves betting odds. Guess who Vegas thinks is gonna win here? Well, it looks like Bernie
Uh-uh.
Sanders has a 3.7% chance of winning.
No way.
Versus Joe Biden, and everybody else is just down. And Bloomberg is like 15.7%. And the reason why Las Vegas is betting on Bloomberg is that he's doing really, really well in the Super Tuesday states. Okay,
Ugh,
okay,
makes no
because
sense.
he's been carpet bombing the Super Tuesday states with ads everywhere.
I know, I
So,
can't even watch TV. It's
okay,
ridiculous. Well, I'm not
so
even a Super Tuesday state, and he's annoying me.
yeah, yeah, and Warren and Buttigieg are kind of like whatever, right? So anyway,
I heard there were a lot of ads for them in Iowa.
yeah, but it's very interesting how it's going to play out. I think the top two are still going to be Sanders and Biden for the long haul. Okay, Bloomberg is just in there as basically he wants to be kingmaker, right? He wants to basically get a significant amount, a significant enough of a voting block where, in the case where there's no clear winner after the first round in the national convention, like if nobody meets that threshold, like I forgot it's like 1,400 delegates or whatever, then in the second round you see a lot of things moving around, right? So if Bloomberg has that big voting block, he can be kingmaker and actually
He
move
wants to be the
move
Earl of Warwick.
yeah, he wants to move all his guys to support one person. Then basically whoever gives him the most, you know, benefits afterwards, I guess is the best word. Basically, gets his support. You know, I mean it's dirty. I believe it's very dirty, but money talks in politics. So
I don't think anyone should run unless they're very serious about it, and
okay,
he's not very serious, and that's why I don't respect him.
all right,
I'm serious.
good opinion. Good opinion. So anyway, let's get into the
Yeah, Milt, you should have included the dates for these
Uh,
caucuses on
see,
the
Jay
slide.
Cruz, thanks for coming here. Good point. I'm from Nevada, lots of Bernie signs, but there are more sign people. Uh, yeah. I'm not surprised that there's a lot of Bernie signs in these states because they have such a big grassroots kind of support. You see a lot of yard signs all over the place.
I see Trump signs
But
everywhere.
yeah, but a lot of these polls usually are basically done just with like registered Democrats. Okay, so they don't really target first-time voters. They don't target Republicans or independents. They usually the pollings are rigged. Okay, all they do is
I
target
want someone to call me, and
to
I want to
basically
participate in the
registered
poll.
Democrats. Are you a registered Democrat? They're not going to call you then.
No, I'm registered, unaffiliated.
And usually they only use landlines Do you have a
I
landline?
have a landline.
See, I don't have a
Yes, but you know
landline.
what? Okay, check this
The only
out.
person that has
This
landlines are
chick
old
who had
people. So anyway, go ahead.
okay, so the chick who had the number before me,
Uh-huh.
I think she was very politically active because
Hmm.
people constantly call for her.
Yeah.
And it was like one time it was a pollster, and I was like, no, this I'm not her, but I like to take the poll. Like, sorry, you can't. And I was
Hmm.
like, oh.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm mad. They call for her all the time and for
Hmm.
political stuff. But when I was like, no, she doesn't live here, but I'll do it. They're like, nope, we don't want your opinion.
Yeah.
I hate it.
And thanks, Mike Foster, for stopping by here. When the polls released, this these are polling
The newest
averages.
one,
Okay, these are polling averages based. Okay, the newest,
the Iowa is brand new though.
dude. I think we're talking about a different question altogether here. There might be another
Oh,
poll released tomorrow by like by the Des Moines Register. Okay, which may affect these averages, but these numbers are just averages of the last five polls for any given category, right? You have national polls and you have state polls, obviously. Okay, so yes, Felicia, don't say anything about polls. Okay, so anyway.
no, I'm just mad that no one asked me. I want to participate in one of these. Now I'm just gonna think they're fake because no one asked my opinion.
They're not gonna
Being serious.
polls are. I mean, that's to say polls are rigged. Okay, they only will basically call registered Democrats or Republicans with
And no one
landlines.
cares
Okay,
about Rhode Island
okay.
because
I
our
mean,
my vote doesn't mean anything in
they're
the
already
long
rigged.
run.
Now,
It's such a small
what I
number.
will say about Andrew Yang though is that the state of Iowa actually ran a straw poll. Okay, amongst college age students, and guess who came first? Andrew Yang. Out of 23,000 respondents in the straw poll amongst college age students in Iowa, sanctioned by the state, okay? The Secretary of State of Iowa actually
I
posted these
would
results.
have thought
Andrew,
Bernie
hey,
would have
stop,
won
stop,
that.
Felicia. Andrew Yang won, okay? Followed by Bernie Sanders. Okay, continue on now,
Yeah,
Felicia.
yeah. No, see, when you said college, my mind
Hmm.
immediately went to Bernie Sanders because
Hmm.
it's a lot of his support is
Hmm.
young kids.
Yep.
So like younger young adults, people my age actually,
Hmm.
and younger.
Hmm.
So that's to hear that Yang did better than him is very surprising.
Well,
But
I mean,
I know that a lot of like he was a Yang guy for a long time. I think in 2016 that's who he supported.
mhm.
So it's not surprising.
Well, Bernie Sanders and Andrew Yang are both anti-establishment millennials, so they are going to basically fight each other for votes.
Bernie Sanders is not a millennial.
No, no, I said they have support amongst the
Oh,
anti-establishment
oh, okay. I
millennials.
missed the
Okay,
supporters part.
okay, listen. Okay, so they basically cater to the same crowd, so it's not surprising that they're actually cannibalizing each other a bit for votes. Okay, just like Elizabeth Warren, Pete Buttigieg are cannibalizing each other, for the white affluent votes, liberal votes, and just like Amy Klobuchar and Joe Biden are cannibalizing each other for the centrist votes, the establishment centrist
Hmm.
votes. Okay. Okay. So anyway, that's my opinion, but I think I'm pretty right on that. So
I don't
anyway,
agree with those betting odds. That's all I have to say.
you don't have to agree on it, okay? Because you're not gonna lay down any money on it.
No, I don't have any money. Johnny even not gonna give me money to go waste on betting over who's gonna win for
Uh-huh.
president. That's so
Yeah.
stupid. Why would someone waste money on that?
Hmm. All right. Yeah,
Just being honest.
yeah, they cater to anti-establishment millennials. Okay, that's what I meant to say. Maybe Felicia heard me wrong as well. So if I did say that,
Do you think I'm an anti-establishment millennial?
no.
Okay, good. Because I'm definitely not.
You know why? Because I don't think your stance on economic populism is really that strong.
No, I don't really have a stance at all.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Anyway,
also don't work. I don't pay taxes.
and you also
Like,
watch
I'm sorry, it's awful
CNN.
to say,
You also
but
watch CNN, which is already like your first
and plus,
mistake.
like, I already have like free healthcare, so like, there's like the biggest problem out of the
I
way.
think if you watch CNN like you do, you're not anti-establishment. Let's put it that way. So anyways, let's get in. Let's get
Listen, I
into.
like to play this game. How long can I watch Fox News before I get upset and change the channel? My record is 5 minutes.
Okay, okay, okay. Let's get into some trend lines here because I always find these things kind of fascinating, if you will. Okay, so basically, these are basically the trend lines for the last 6 months. Okay, so we're looking from last August up to today, and the our poll averages I showed earlier reflect the current state, right? But obviously, it's not just static, right? this race changes through time. And the interesting part of all this is that what we can see recently is that Bernie Sanders has really jumped from about second or third place and basically came up and basically overtook Joe Biden, okay, for the lead in Iowa. And Pete Buttigieg, who was doing really well in December, okay,
Mhm.
has fallen like off the cliff, as well as Elizabeth Warren, okay, has fallen off the cliff in the past month. And guess who's surging in their
Yeah.
place? Amy Kay. Amy Klobuchar is
Yeah.
surging at the same time. Uh, Buttigieg and Warren are actually basically falling off the cliff, and basically that already tells you that they're basically fighting for the same type of voters. Okay,
I'm not surprised at
which is
all.
the white affluent liberals that basically hang out on the center side of the political spectrum here.
Is
Okay,
that what you think I am?
no, 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 no. But you don't have to be
I
rich
want to know what you think
to
I
be an
am.
establishment liberal like you are. Okay, you just don't know any better. Anyway, so
I
uh,
knew that's what you thought I was.
okay,
Freaking knew it.
so you have this upper tier of candidates, right? Sanders, Biden, Buttigieg, and Warren, on the kind of like the top tier, if you will. And then Amy Kay is surging, so she's kind of in the middle now. We're about averaging about 9.8% as you saw earlier. And then you have the lower tier of Yang, Steyer, and Gabbard. Okay, and I'm only including candidates who are you know polling above at or above 2% in Iowa on average. Okay, so very interesting trend lines here. Klobuchar again has really been surging, again, but at the expense of the other candidates such as Buttigieg and Warren. Joe Biden is very steady. He has a very rock solid support base. I mean, look at that green line. It's pretty much flatlined since September. Okay, Bernie's actually been climbing a lot. Again, I think that's also at the expense of Warren, right? He's grabbing some of Warren's votes on the progressive side,
I
which
don't
is
know. I just feel like a
okay.
lot of
Okay.
people who say they're going to vote for
Okay.
Sanders aren't actually going to go out and vote.
Okay.
I'm just being honest.
All right.
It's people that sit home, watch CNN, get mad, go yell at their parents, and then don't do anything with their lives and don't actually vote. That's just my opinion. Not all of them, but I
Okay.
feel like there's a select group, the loudest group,
Yeah.
are the ones that aren't actually going to go out and
Okay.
vote.
And Yang and Steyer, I mean, their trends are actually paralleling each other pretty nicely, and they are coming up in the polls. Again, I think Yang's polling results are very very conservative because of the people that pollers actually ask questions to. Okay, and I think he's going to overperform his polling numbers, but we'll save that for the predictions. So interesting. Buttigieg, Warren have been on downward trends. Joe Biden has been kind of like on a steady flat trend. Bernie's been picking up a head of steam since 2 or 3 weeks ago. Okay, he's in the lead right now. And then Yang and Steyer are, I think, are kind of making their move a little bit. Okay, and
Wow.
Gabbard is she's kind of been holding on that, kind of like that 2% level for a while.
I
If
always
she,
forget about her.
yeah, I think she's going to drop out after South Carolina. Honestly, I think she's running out of money because her
Mm.
donors aren't really that high.
I wonder what it would look like if
Hmm.
Harris was still in here. Because
Yeah,
she had the support, she just didn't have the money.
no, no,
So I
no,
wonder what her
no.
support
Her
would look like.
support went way down. Okay, you look at the graph. That bright orange line in the middle, that was Harris. So after she called out Joe Biden in that first debate, she was up at 16%, and then she just
Oh,
fell off.
okay.
She fell off the cliff, and that orange line terminates right roughly at about
Where she dropped
mid-November.
out.
And mid-November, she dropped out. Yeah.
Okay. Is
Yeah,
there
so
anyone else
so
in
so
here
she was
that
totally
dropped
on a
out?
down. She was totally on a downward trend. I mean, she was gonna go into Tom Steyer towards the Gabbard levels. Okay,
Are there
honestly,
any other candidates on here that dropped out?
Mike Mike Delaney dropped out, or Joe Delaney.
Oh, he is so
Yeah,
irrelevant.
yeah, yeah, he's relevant, but nobody else dropped out. You mean
Like,
on
does he don't
here?
have a
You mean
Booker line?
there's no Booker? I think maybe the gray line. No, no, that's Steyer. Booker's not on here,
Okay, that's just
unless
interesting.
it's the yellow. It could be
I love graphs.
it could be
Graphs are
the
always my favorite part of
wait
these.
wait a minute. It could be the yellow one is Booker.
Yeah, graphs are always my favorite part
Okay.
of these. So,
Well, I mean, this is a line graph just basically going through time. Okay,
mhm.
it's trends. You're after trends here. Okay, the first chart was basically static snapshots, a current snapshot. This is
What
trends.
what
Okay.
is that big green thing in the bottom?
The big green thing is basically who's in the lead. So for
Okay,
for the
gotcha.
month from August to November, it's been Joe Biden,
Okay.
okay, and then lately it's been Bernie Sanders, as
Okay,
far as
yeah,
the
I was
line.
wondering
Okay,
what that meant.
all right,
Yep, I got it now.
all right. No, no, Peter. Yellow is orange. Okay, yellow is Booker. Excuse me, and orange is Kamala. Okay, or yellow is not Kamala. And let's see what else. What
Even though he
what
dropped
what
out, I
else is
thought he had
going
a
on
good
here?
performance in the last debate he was in. Just saying.
Hmm. Oh, I see that we have a lot of Hill Rising viewers. Yep, I'm also a very big fan of the Hill Rising, and but Felicia
I
hates
I
them.
was I liked them until he went on his Reefer Madness thing, and then I was like, I don't respect you anymore. I couldn't believe that he really went on a Reefer Madness thing.
Yeah, but I tried to explain why he went on that.
I, I strongly disagree with it. Is his there was no it's crazy to think that
No, no, no.
something as harmless as that can cause craziness and people
Well,
killing people. It's
the,
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
the beauty of the Hill Rising is that they're both anti-establishment hosts. Okay, one represents the conservative right, the conservative anti-establishment, and the other represents the progressive, okay, or the liberal anti-establishment. Okay, so I mean, I lean, on that spectrum, I lean more towards the right, okay, of the anti-establishment
I was fine with
spectrum,
them until that
but
one time.
mhm, yeah.
That one thing.
Hmm.
He really upset me.
But it's great, and I they have a new book that's been pre-released. It's called The Populist Guide to 2020. Check it out on Amazon. It's hit number 5 on Amazon in terms of the pre-release rankings, and I bought one, so woohoo, right? So
I wonder where John Bolton's book is on the pre-release rankings.
it hasn't been released for pre-release, right?
Oh,
Yeah. The NSC said that he had to take down, he had to redact some packages. He had to redact some passages from that book before it actually gets released for pre-release. So anyway, okay, we're done with the trend lines here. Let's get into the individual candidates here. Okay, so
mhm.
Felicia, we have Tulsi Gabbard. Okay, we're going to start from low to high here in terms of RCP, Iowa averages. Central issue, opposition to American military intervention overseas. Okay, she's a big, she's a dove essentially, right? She's no hawk, okay, but she is also but she is a former veteran as well. Or she's a current. No, she isn't even a
I,
veteran. She's a
yeah,
current
I think she's still like current.
service person.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, she's a current service person here. Anyway, RCP national average 2.0. Who would like this candidate? Veterans, some progressives, voters looking to reduce military spending. Okay, who avoid this candidate? People who support open borders. Okay, she's not a big fan of open borders. Okay, the military industrial complex for obvious reasons. She doesn't like foreign intervention or wars, and global trade. She's kind of a protectionist in terms of her economic policies. Okay, she's only polling at 2.0. Okay, I don't think she has a chance to be viable in any precinct, honestly.
it's higher than I
Um,
thought.
and
Even 2%.
but her
Surprised.
message is clear, and and anybody who Hillary hates is okay in my book.
She just needs to shut up and go away. Stop talking. God.
she,
She keeps shooting herself in the foot.
yeah,
Just
she
stop
can't
talking,
stop
Hillary.
talking.
Go away.
Yeah,
You lost. You're done. You've had more than enough time to make your
okay.
point. Just go away. Right off into the sunset. Just go away.
Yeah, I mean, I can see in some precincts locations that she might do well in, but I still don't think she'll be viable in any of them. I don't think she'll get a state delegate equivalent, to put it mildly here. So let's get into our next
She
candidate.
does look good in white. I gotta say, out of all, she does look great when she wears all
I,
white.
I
I'll give
think
Gabbard
I
that.
think
She's got good fashion
she
sense.
probably looks the best in white amongst all the candidates.
Yeah,
I would
she
agree.
does. She looks like she's got good fashion sense. She dresses well.
Yeah,
I will give her
yeah.
that. But that has nothing to do with her policy points. That's just my
Okay.
opinion.
Okay. Let's get into Tom Steyer here. Okay. Billionaire number one. Right. The second richest billionaire in the Democratic election campaign here. So anyway, business executive and philanthropist. Central issues are fighting climate change and promoting renewable energy. In the last two debates that he's been on, he's actually positioned himself as the climate change guy amongst all the of the group, right? So he's the one that basically has climate change as his number one issue, and he's been basically telling the others, why haven't they talked about climate change in any of the debates? So to me, I think that's great. I think he's basically carved out a niche for himself, and we'll see how it, we'll see how it goes. But in the previous slide, you already saw that not much of America cares about climate change, right? In terms of the top issues, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately. So his RCP average is 3.6 in Iowa. Okay, in Iowa. Who would like this candidate? Voters frustrated with House Democrats foot dragging on impeachment. This is an old slide. Excuse me for that. Okay, the impeachment's been done. Okay, and some environmentalists and who will avoid this candidate? We're looking at skeptics of self-funded campaigns, obviously, because he's been carpet bombing Nevada and South Carolina with ads. And those just distrustful of Wall Street because he was the ex-CEO of a hedge fund company. And that's where he made his billions. But now he is a philanthropist, and he's been giving away money to very respectful causes such as climate change groups, advocacy groups, and other things. So I really don't think he has a chance either. I think he's too narrow, and he's too narrow focused, and I don't think he has enough of a general name recognition, if you will, amongst the population in Iowa as well as nationally to get far. I don't think he's going to be viable in any of the precincts at 15%.
I agree.
What do you think?
Only reason I know who he is because he had all those ads about the need to impeach, which I'm not gonna lie, I did. I signed that petition.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna deny it. And so I was like, okay, this guy is just the anti-Trump. That's when I see him. All I
Yeah.
see is the reverse Donald Trump, who just happens to be a bit richer. That's just I look at him as the anti-Trump, and I don't think that's enough to win.
So is it confirmed that Starr is richer than Trump or vice versa?
No one. Well, okay. Well,
Trump will say he's richer, right?
he says he's richer than everyone, but no one actually knows because he doesn't tell anybody. He claims he has all this money, and then Forbes did an article and he got mad about it. So I don't know. I'm not gonna say I know, but I'm sure. Well, who knows how much money he spent on this campaign? He might have dipped a little lower.
Yeah.
But I just look at him as anti-Trump. He tried to do the climate thing. I'm not saying he's not true about it, but he should have been. That should have been his point if he was going to not just anti.
Yeah.
I don't think being anti-Trump is enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I look at him. I just see anti-Trump. So that's not enough. That's not a big enough message.
Yeah. In a way, he might make a pretty good Secretary of the Interior. About the climate change and everything else. I mean, since he is so rich, he's uncorruptible.
Yeah, and
right?
didn't he make his money in the fossil fuel industry?
Yes, he did.
Which it's like, okay, I get you're trying to make a difference now, but where was your soul then?
When you're young and trying to get ahead in life, you sell yourself.
Someone's talking from personal experience.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, yep. You know me, right? You know what my past occupation was. So I think a lot of you guys know what my past occupation was, and it's not dissimilar from Tom Steyer's, put it that way. So let's get into our next candidate, and RCP average 3.8. None other than Andrew Yang, right, entrepreneur. And his central issue is establishing a universal basic income of $1,000 per month for all Americans. Okay, who will like this candidate? Silicon Valley types, disillusioned Trump voters. Okay, he has the most favorability in terms of independents and Republicans than any other candidate. Okay, so and he has the most crossover appeal too, right? So if you're a Republican right now and you're fed up with our current president, Andrew Yang is pretty much your man. As well as independents too. Anyway, anti-establishment millennials, Dave Chappelle and Norm Macdonald. So he's cornered the comedian market.
Dave Chappelle endorsed him?
Yeah, Dave Chappelle endorsed him 2 weeks ago, dude.
Oh, that's cool. Where have you been? I didn't know that.
Where have you been? I mean,
I've been watching tennis.
Dude, check this out. They have a commercial out right now. It's cut where Dave Chappelle and Andrew Yang are basically calling themselves Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan from Rush Hour. It's funny as hell.
Oh man, I'll have to watch that on YouTube later. No,
Yeah,
I've been up.
yeah,
My
yeah.
schedule's
So
off because of the
yeah,
tennis.
yeah.
Do you know
Well,
an American won last night? Not the point.
We all know that. Okay, so but anyway, yeah. So it's a cut commercial on YouTube. Check it out. Search for Andrew Yang, Dave Chappelle commercial
Oh yeah, that'll
cut.
be easy to find.
Okay. Yeah, it's great. It's funny as hell. And Norm Macdonald, so he's cornered that comedian's market, right? Who will avoid this candidate? Well, pretty much anybody who's against new taxes to fund that UPI, because he proposes funding it through value-added taxes. These are VAT. It's a VAT, right? And they use this in Western Europe, okay, in Australia. Okay, it's called a value-added tax, and basically, some people are against it because they might think it's regressive. I personally don't think a value-added tax is regressive because you're only taxing on certain things, not essential basic goods. Okay, but that might be an argument that somebody might say that it impacts the poor a lot more than the rich. So, but anyway, that's just me though. So, anyway, again, judging from my math hat, I'm a big fan of his because I believe that the universal basic income, $1,000 a month will actually help the economy and actually will help lift the boot off of people's throats, right? Especially if they lose their jobs due to, say, automation or any kind of like technology. What can they do, right? Honestly, what will you do as a 36-year-old truck driver who lost his job to a robot truck and you can't pay the bills? A UBI will help you pay that bill, okay? Pay those bills.
What is
What?
going on?
Yeah, right? What's happening, Felicia?
No, my. Oh, it's my chat's not working right.
Okay.
I
So
think I'm
anyway,
dying. That's what's happening.
so that's all I'm gonna say. The other thing, another example is how do we reward single mothers who have to stay at home and grandparents who stay at home to take care of their kids?
Yeah, caretakers. I think
Caretakers. Okay.
that's the thing about him I like is
Yeah.
his stance on people
Yeah.
like homemakers like me.
Yeah. Traditionally, these people are not recognized as having jobs, unfortunately, and at least under a UBI system,
Hmm.
they are actually getting paid for it. Okay. Costs are about $3 to $4 trillion a year, but again, that can be paid for by imposing value-added taxes as well as, you know, chopping some tax loopholes for the rich. and
I was watching his
yeah,
things about the value added tax, and
hmm
I'm not going to act like I completely understand it, but I think if it's
yeah,
only for luxury items, then absolutely it's a good idea. If it's only for luxury items.
yeah, yeah. But Bridge, I mean, Kev, you have a good point. Value-added tax is based on consumption, right? But again, basic goods would be VAT free, okay, would be free of these taxes. And I think if you should be responsible, as a person to know what you can or cannot be able to afford. So, so if you insist on spending a lot of money on an iPhone with a value tax added to it, and you don't have the means to do that, then yeah, I mean, it may appear to be regressive, but I think that's more of a responsibility issue. That's all I'm going to say about that.
I, I
Felicia?
have no problem with the value added tax for
Hmm.
real luxury items.
Yeah.
Like a real luxury item. Like no one
Hmm.
needs the most. Like obviously a phone is pretty much a necessity these days,
Hmm.
but like the newest edition XL iPhone bajillion,
Yeah.
that's not a necessity. That's a luxury. So yeah, a value added tax to that, or maybe like
Hmm.
certain things, like like even now, like there's no taxes on clothes, shelter, and
Hmm.
food because they're necessities, and I think it's the same general concept with the value added tax.
Yeah, and the thing about struggling to put food in people's bellies, yeah, I mean, having an extra $1,000 a month would help you pay for food, right?
Yes.
As opposed to paying for bills. And also, think about where this money goes to, right? The money that you're spending with this UBI would be going directly back and recirculated back into the local
Yeah.
economy.
Yeah, because
Okay.
you're gonna go spend it at the local
Okay.
store. You're gonna go to the grocery store. You're gonna
Exactly.
go to wherever.
I mean, pros and cons.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
We totally get the costs and everything like that, but I think it's the first step. Okay, I think this expands the
Yeah.
social safety net that a lot of people may not have. I mean, Social Security only comes into play when you're 62 years old. Okay, so again, what do you do when you're, say, a 36 or 37-year-old truck driver who's lost his job? You can't make them wait 25 years until they hit 62 to start collecting Social Security.
And retraining isn't always, you can't
Retraining does not
retrain
work.
people to be,
It's been
yeah.
shown not to work. Joe
Hmm.
Biden says you can teach coal miners in West Virginia to basically become computer programmers. I'm going, good luck with that, Joe
No.
Biden. Right?
There's no problem with your
Okay.
training as long as in a
Okay.
similar viable field.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think we're getting off tangent
Not
here a
if you
bit.
go, you, I'm just saying you can retrain a truck
Yeah.
driver to be a forklift driver. That's the thing.
Okay.
That's an option, but
Yeah.
not a computer programmer.
Yeah.
I'm just
Okay,
saying.
but I think we're going off tangent here. I think he's going to overperform here based on the overperform the polls
Yes.
because
He's in my top three.
for reasons explained earlier on, the polls don't necessarily represent his base and his supporters.
Hmm. Yeah,
All right.
he's in my top three of people, but I'm also
Coal miners easily learn
undecided.
Java. That's awesome. That's awesome. Kev, I think they could easily learn Java by drinking coffee. Anyway, let's get into anything else here. Thanks, Kat Harding, or apparently human now, for coming
I do
in.
not blame you. U.S. government is very confusing.
Yeah,
it
yeah, and
it is.
great. Thanks a lot again for coming on here. Let's get into our next candidate, and she's Surge. Amy Surge is happening. The media has actually made Amy K happen, Felicia. So,
You
yes, and
say that about everyone who surges.
that's Amy Klobuchar, U.S. Senator from Minnesota. And her central issue is opioid crisis, drug addiction, and addressing the cost of prescription drugs. Honestly, I really don't know what her position is, but I just saw that as one of her, as what she talked about on a webpage, and I just put it in there.
Mm,
I don't think she actually
drugs is
has
definitely
a
the
central issue,
prescription drug cost. She talks about that a lot.
but everybody
I think
talks
that
about
will
prescription
definitely be
drug
up there.
talks. Everybody talks about
I feel like
lowering the
she talks
cost.
about it more though.
Yeah, yeah, and she does.
During the debates.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
she does have a personal history of issues with prescription drugs. Okay.
with her dad's a
Yeah,
recovering
exactly.
alcoholic.
Yeah. Anyway, her RCP.
She's the only one who ever got an apology too.
Yeah.
Good for her.
We're not talking about the Supreme Court nomination process here.
Hey, I didn't say
Anyway.
from who. I didn't drop names.
Okay.
I'm not getting into that.
Okay. Anyway, this is tough. Okay. So anyway, RCP
I
national
might die. Just letting you know.
RCP I would average was 9.6. Who would like this candidate? Folks looking for that Goldilocks candidate, right? Neither too far left, neither too far right. Plus, she's a woman from the Midwest. So that checks all the boxes of the Democratic establishment party. Okay? Right? A woman, not too far left, not too far right, just perfect. Good Goldilocks. Just like Hillary.
Tried to
Anyway,
be. Yeah, I was gonna say
yeah,
that sounds kind
anyway.
of familiar.
And consensus voters. She does have a proven track record as a four-term senator of basically reaching across the aisle
Mhm.
on a lot of bills. Okay, so she's definitely a pragmatist, and she does have a track record, which is very admirable actually, being willing to do that. I just don't. Again, she doesn't make a compelling case. Why would you pick Amy Klobuchar over Joe Biden, who's pretty much the male equivalent of her? Also, who will avoid this candidate? Again, progressives, right? She is a centrist. And Democrats
Mhm.
to her left may be opposed to her because of her centrist appeal here. Felicia, 9.6. Again, the media's been pushing Amy a lot
She's in my
lately.
top five.
That's not
She
saying
is. She's in
much.
my
That's not
top
saying
five.
much. Top five doesn't
I'm
say
like
much, Felicia.
I'm so undecided. Like I really am. But she's in. I don't hate her. I do want.
Mhm.
Personally would prefer for a less
Yeah.
progressive. Cause I would personally prefer a more center left.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
you know, she's a bit too center for my liking, but
Yeah. Yeah.
she's not the
Yeah.
worst.
Yeah, Jake, and Kev, I totally agree with you guys here. The media wants her or Kamala Harris as VPs. In fact, I would think they would want Kamala Harris a lot more as a VP because she is a
Oh, her.
POC.
Okay, I don't think she would be a good VP if it was Biden because it's like
Okay.
pretty much you're right, the male and
Yeah.
female version of each
Hmm.
other. So I don't. I think they're too similar.
Yeah.
She would be a good VP for like maybe
Yeah.
uh Bernie.
Yeah. But
I
yeah.
feel like there needs to be the contrast. They're too
Mhm.
similar.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah,
She is. She's just a chick Biden. I totally agree.
yeah. I know. I think Kamala and or
She
Amy
just does. She
would
just hasn't
be
been around
would
long
be
enough to vote for
reasonable
the war in
establishment
Iraq, so
candidates.
and the war in
Yeah,
Iran. So
yeah,
she's good. Or the war. The war. She didn't vote on the war, so that's
yeah.
the only thing she's got over Biden. That she can say that. Look, I didn't vote for that war.
Hmm.
That's the only thing. That's big difference, really.
Oh, I was talking about VP candidates. Okay, sorry.
Oh, VP. Well, I
Yeah.
don't think she's a good VP candidate for
Well, I
anyone.
mean,
Maybe
no,
maybe Bernie.
I think the
That's it.
establishment wants her or
I
Kamala Harris
died,
as being the
Johnny.
VP candidate.
I died.
Uh, do your phone, Felicia, gracefully. Felicia's tablet has basically gone down to 0%, so you can't see her or talk to her right now. But that is Amy Klobuchar, everyone. Now let's get into our next candidate here. How the mighty have fallen. None other than Elizabeth Warren, U.S. Senator from Massachusetts. Her central issue is income inequality, okay, which, that's my top issue, or my second most top issue, and regulating big corporations and political corruption. Um, RCP Iowa average is 14.6. In October of last year, she was actually number one in Iowa, if you can believe it, based on those trend lines. Who elect this candidate? Detail-oriented voters who like her mix of East Coast academic know-how and Midwestern roots, because she is from Oklahoma, which isn't really part of the Midwest, but some people say that she is Midwestern. And policy honks. She has a policy and idea for everything, whether or not you actually believe she's sincere in actually sincere in those policies or actually would do anything in those policies that she writes. It's a completely different issue. Who will avoid this candidate will be voters who distrust the intellectual elite. Okay, people who doubt she has enough personal appeal and can lure the centrists. She's been making a play right now to actually lure the centrists. Okay, in a way, her Medicare for All fiasco was a perfect example of trying to lure the centrists after being a big
Yeah.
supporter of a single payer Medicare for all system, she decided, nah, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should do a public option first, and then wait 3 years, and then decide whether or not we want to do a single payer Medicare for all system. Of course, after 3 years, she also wants to get the money for Medicare for all by passing a immigration bill. So go figure that, right? So anyway,
Okay.
uh, and she's also been pandering to the woke left, which I'm not a big fan of. So lately, and I think that's caused her to drop a bit in terms of her charges against Bernie Sanders on not racism but on sexism, which I thought was a dirty move right before the
Can you
debate.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Felicia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're talking about Warren right now,
Yeah,
but
I,
anyway,
I had to switch devices.
okay, we can't see you, but that's okay.
No, you're supposed to see me.
Okay.
Johnny won't give me the computer. He's still Warcrafting.
Oh, you can't switch on your camera on your phone.
Wait, hold up. Did you say you're done? Yeah, he's almost been done for an hour.
Okay, but you can't switch on your camera on your
No,
phone. I guess not.
I can, but I won't.
Okay. You guys hear it. She can, but she won't. Anyway, yeah. I mean, I like those choices, Kev. Especially Yang as Secretary of Commerce. I think he'll do great as that. Treasury,
Yes, I agree with that. Absolutely.
Warren does have experience working on bankruptcy bills, and she was a bankruptcy
EB.
lawyer, so that might be a good one. Definitely for
She
that.
started the Consumer Protection Bureau, so yeah,
Hmm.
I don't think that'd be
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
She'll have
But
people's best interest. That's good.
anyway, yeah, great. Yeah, but again, she's really been nosediving here, and I think Bernie's been picking up her supporters as well as Amy
My mom.
Klobuchar.
I'm trying to convince my mom not to vote for her.
All right, cool. So yeah, but again, she really disappointed me as in terms of her character by doing that Bernie thing right before the debate.
Yeah,
I thought that was a low blow,
and I'm just gonna
but
say, as a woman,
yeah.
Bernie's not wrong. I absolutely agree with what he said.
No, no, and
I don't
also
think.
it was a private conversation between two people. It boiled down to a he said she said thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
but I don't know.
and you
I'm just.
don't accuse somebody of being a sexist in the he said she said thing. Okay,
I don't believe
right
the same.
before a debate, right before
And
a
I'm
debate.
always ready to call someone a
So
sexist. Like I'm the
okay,
first person to call someone a sexist in the room,
yeah,
and so I don't. I think what he says is an accurate statement.
yeah,
I just this is going to be controversial. I don't think a woman can beat Trump, and I'm a woman.
okay.
and I'm ready to call everybody sexist for it. But nope, I just don't think it's true. I don't think they can. That's just my opinion. So be mad at me, not Milt.
I mean, Trump will have a. I think Trump will have a field day against any of the female candidates right now.
They'll be Hillary 2.0 no matter what their stance
Okay.
is.
I mean,
That's just my opinion as a woman who
I mean,
obviously I would love to see a woman do well and beat Trump. I just don't think any of these women can.
yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe Angela Merkel, if she was American, can probably beat Trump, but she's
Yeah,
in
I just
Germany, so anyway, it doesn't matter.
we'll
So
go
anyway, yeah.
have a
So
woman,
so
but I don't think they can.
so that's Elizabeth Warren for you, and yeah, Toasty would be great to basically debate Trump.
She's anti-Trump.
Yeah, but man, I mean, the problem with Toasty is though she's kind of hated. So anyway, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure people would take her side,
The
even if
establishment
she.
never get on board with her, and you need the
Yeah,
establishment if you're going to win the nation.
I mean, even if Toasty trucked Trump in a debate,
It doesn't matter. He'll still
everyone
declare,
would say that she was being mean to Donald. Okay,
and
so
then
anyway,
that's what everyone will say.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, Toasty as a VP would be an interesting choice for a progressive, say like for Bernie. I can see it happening. It'd be totally anti-establishment, but screw the establishment at this point. I mean, they're the ones who basically put Trump into the presidency.
I told you the only thing I
So,
like about Elizabeth Warren
hmm
is that she
yeah,
she wanted to be a teacher,
yeah.
and she was a teacher, and I've always wanted to be a teacher. So that's the only thing I like about her.
Yep, a personal anecdote from Felicia. So I should call
I've always
Felicia
wanted to be a teacher.
Felicia anecdotes.
Yep, if I ever do a career path, that will be it.
All right. Let's get on to candidate number
Hey,
6.
it's my
Mayo
guy.
Pete
Don't call him
Buttigieg.
May.
Pete Buttigieg, mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and he's just about as white as mayonnaise. That's why I call him Mayo Pete.
I hate mayo. Though. I hate mayo. Mayo's disgusting.
Anyway, central issues, general identity, generational identity. He's young, and he's
Yes, he
also
is.
focused. He's focused on climate change, sort of, and economic opportunity, because
Sort of.
he's young. anyway, his RCP Iowa average is 15.8, so he's in third place in Iowa right now. Who will elect this candidate? Again, generational
Me.
change voters, which is kind of interesting. He's the youngest candidate, but all his support is from the baby boomers, voters from flyover states, and social progressives, because his identity is, being a gay man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who will avoid this candidate? We're looking at people who will be looking for a more experienced candidate, and because of his identity, which is a double-edged sword, okay, conservative Christians on the Democratic base, obviously, right? We all know that. So I mean, hate to say it, but we know that. Okay, so anyway,
I
uh,
don't think anyone's gonna do that low.
okay,
Or at least not the. I said this before. I'm gonna say it again. I don't think
uh-huh.
Donald Trump would ever go out and like start saying homophobic slurs or talking shit about him just because he's gay. He'll use everything else. I don't. I'm not the biggest Trump fan, but I don't think he would do that. That just seems too.
I
Oh,
think
whoa!
Trump. It wouldn't surprise me if. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he went after his spouse. Honestly,
Maybe. Oh,
I
maybe
mean,
his spouse, but not
yeah,
for that reason. I'm sure
yeah,
he'll go after him for everything, but I don't think he would say a homophobic slur or something like that.
yeah. But
Like I
yeah, I
like
mean,
Trump's an asshole, but there's
uh,
levels of being an asshole.
let's not talk
You
about
know?
Trump anymore, okay? But anyway, Pete Buttigieg, okay, he was actually in first place in late November through the month of December in Iowa. So I mean, he was up there. He peaked in December, but then he's come way crashing, okay, in January, okay. I think what caused him to crash was the good old wine cave debate. I think
No.
people finally understood that this guy's taking money from a lot of corporations, and a lot of big money interests here. It's backing this guy, and I think he was he was putting himself forth as a reformer, you know, but at the same time he's basically taking money from suspect, big business interests, which I think exposed his hypocrisy, and thus he became known as Wine Cave Pete, and he's been falling down ever since then. Felicia?
I know I don't like it, but I like Pete. Obviously, he's my top guy.
Yeah,
He's my number one currently. I've changed number one like 9 times.
I thought Yang was
So
your number one. You said no. You
Yang.
just wait.
I
Hold on a
said
minute.
they're my.
Hold on a minute. You changed it just in the stream. You said Yang was your top guy, and now you're saying Pete's your
No, I
top
said
guy.
Yang's in my top three. He's one of my top guys. My top guys are Buttigieg and Yang. Those are my top two. I'm like slowly like he's currently number one, but he's very slowly moving down. Honestly,
Every time I ask you in private, Felicia,
no, I like.
why are you voting for Pete Buttigieg, or why do you like Pete Buttigieg? You have absolutely no answer.
I don't have a
It's
good answer. No,
blank. There's no response. And
it's identity politics because I consider myself bisexual. So I that's probably what it is. Honestly, straight up.
identity politics, yes. Okay, anyway,
I'm
um,
probably
but anyway, that's Pete for you. I think he's gonna make it through
I
Super Tuesday, but after that, I think he's gonna basically drop out because you know, he does bring in a lot of money, so he has a very big fundraising base. But I just don't see him going anywhere. In terms of delegate counts, I forgot to mention that. I think Amy Klobuchar can probably pick up a couple of delegates in Iowa. Uh, Elizabeth Warren, I think, will pick up a few delegates in Iowa, and Pete Buttigieg also will pick up a few delegates in Iowa. Pistol
definitely
Pete.
gonna.
What do you think, Felicia?
I think he's gonna underperform. I think he had the boost. Like, see, what about him that I liked is when most candidates ran, I watched like the YouTube video of their first thing they did, and I watched his, and I was like, oh wow, that's nice. It's sweet. It felt genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, he does this everywhere he goes. A little less genuine.
Yep.
Um, but again, I consider myself part of the LGBT community, so that's a big thing for me. I like his Medicare for all who want it. I don't think I'm not saying Medicare for all is a bad plan, but I don't think it's as good of a plan as most people think. So I think I don't know. I like Biden's plan actually on
Yeah.
insurance the most.
I
But
You know,
yeah,
I think
more
the narrative around Medicare for all has actually been misconstrued, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. Medicare for all is a generic term, okay? The key difference is Bernie Sanders, which is the most revolutionary, is a single payer Medicare for all, which is the government controls everything, regulates everything, okay? You can have a Medicare for all with insurance companies still in the loop, okay?
like they do in Europe.
Yeah, yeah. Medicare for
Had a-
all generically only means that Medicare is available for everyone who wants it, right? But it's not single payer. Okay. I think so.
Europe
There's a
has
lot
bad
of
insurance. But when it comes to the insurance stances,
some misinformation about that.
I'm leaning more towards
Yeah,
the because Pete's plan is basically Biden's plan. They're basically the
yeah.
same. So that's
It's
I'm center on when it comes to I'm the centrist of the
yeah.
policy and the
I,
policies, and
I
he's
mean,
with those.
yeah. I mean,
He's focusing
Yang has
on
been criticized for basically saying Medicare for all in his commercials that he supports it. But again, Medicare for all is an abstract, right? It's an idea more than it is a actual policy.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
'Cause it's not it like what the bills they're all putting forward are not the ones that are
Yeah.
going to get passed. Obviously, it takes a lot of time,
Hmm.
negotiation, things change. It's none of the plans that we see now are any of the ones that will go into action.
Yeah.
That is obvious.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Kev, in the sense
It's
that
really
no, no. I mean,
easier.
I understand what you're saying, Kev. That Medicare for all is a name of the bill, but there are many. It's a very vague term and is an abstract where you have a single payer Medicare for all, okay, but you also have other forms of Medicare for all. Medicare for all, you know, strictly, okay, by definition, is just making it available for people who want it. Honestly. Yeah. But anyway, it's just me. I mean, yeah, universal healthcare is a concept. You know, I mean, I think Medicare for all is a concept as well. Is an abstract.
Mhm.
It's just different. You know, we agree to disagree on that point. But
Yeah,
you know,
I'm
but
more
we've talked about it
center.
before about
I
this.
feel
So
more centrist on this issue. It's like
yeah.
the only one where I feel like I have a true like centrist stance is on health insurance.
Hmm.
Everything else I'm way more left leaning.
Hmm.
This is my most central thing though.
Hmm. Awesome. Okay, let's get into our second place guy. Yep, Joe Biden, Uncle Joe,
In
former Vice
second
President of
place.
the United
Crazy.
States. Signature issue: restoring America's standing on a global stage. Let's make America great again.
Come on, bro.
Or let's make America just like the way it was
Let's
under
make
Barack
America
Obama.
again. That's what instead of great again, oh 08 again.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait,
Anyway,
no, economy was awful in '08.
oh yeah, and Peter Griffin totally agreed. The costs are out of control. Something needs to be done, especially with prescription drugs. I think that's the first act that people can do really quickly and bring that
Yeah, it's
stuff
crazy.
down.
Without
But
insurance, my inhaler is like $75. That is
okay,
ridiculous. That's a
but
ridiculous
anyway,
price
let's talk
for
about Joe
life
Biden here.
apparatus.
Okay,
Sorry.
RCP national average, or excuse me, RCP Iowa average is 20.2. Okay, I'm used to saying national average because in my debate videos I always talk about national averages,
Mm-hmm.
and now I have to focus in Iowa here. So yeah, 20.2. So he's about 3 points behind Bernie in terms of the average Iowa polling number here. Who would like this candidate? Democrats who think a safe pair of hands is a tested white man, and
Did you read
independents and independents nostalgic for the Obama administration. Basically, getting back the independents who did not like Hillary Clinton in 2016. Okay, those people might like Joe Biden instead. Okay, who will avoid this candidate? Again, it's the left, right? Progressive millennials eager for a new generation of leaders, and far-right conservatives who hated Obama
Yep.
or who thought Obama. Hate's a strong word. I would consider people who thought Obama was a sellout would be probably a better word. Okay, so anyway, would probably avoid this candidate. Uh, Again, we see the trend lines with Joe Biden. Okay, he has a very hard support base. Okay, his numbers amongst African American communities is basically rock solid, like 38% or something crazy like that in terms of support amongst African Americans. He's not gonna fall. Okay, he will never fall below 15 or 15% unless something bad happens to him. Um, it's almost like a toss up right now between Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders as who's going to actually get the most delegates out of Iowa here. And
Mm.
I see his appeal, right? I mean, a
He's
lot,
safe.
a lot,
He's
a lot
very
of people
safe.
want to go back to those days, of Obama, um, and get away from the craziness. They want stability. Uh, Personally, I think he's representative of the same kind of establishment neoliberalism that's basically contributed to our problems that we have today. I mean, he's part of the same establishment that's part of the disease in our country. But that's just me.
I think
Um,
he's the safest candidate. Like, I don't know. I feel like if I'm going to look at anyone that could win, I would like if I was voting logically and not with my heart, I would, just for like to get
he's
for a Democrat to be president, he would.
he's
That's the way I look at him. He is. I saw a great thing. It's like he's the vanilla ice cream of all the candidates, and like everyone else is like these crazy flavors.
he's the
But
John
like,
H of
yeah,
candidates.
he's the vanilla ice cream candidate. It's like everyone like vanilla ice cream is my personal favorite flavor, so that's not the point. But like, you know, I, everyone likes vanilla ice cream in the long run. You know,
Yeah. Well,
vanilla does the job. It's ice cream.
I think here's the issue. Okay, what you're making is a general electability argument. Is what you're making, right? A
Yeah.
general electability argument to me is
Also,
flawed already. Okay, it's completely
president.
flawed. Okay, a general
My president.
electability argument was what Hillary Clinton was making.
I think also the
Okay.
fact that he was the vice president under one of the most
Okay.
loved Democratic presidents recently is.
Yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
that his selling thing is he was Obama's VP. How can you hate Obama's VP if you're a progressive
Joe's a
Democrat?
lot more is a lot more likable. Joe Biden is a lot more likable than Hillary Clinton, so he may get a lot of those
Very like, and he's
he,
got
he may get a lot of
a
those
tragic
independents
story.
back
His
that
tragic story
flock to
makes him
Trump.
relatable.
Hmm.
I
And
just feel like I think he's way better than Hillary as a candidate.
uh,
If he ran in 2016, he could have won. I think.
oh, definitely he could have won, but he
Especially,
didn't.
I,
But he didn't.
he wasn't he didn't have the heart for it because his son just died. But if he ran in 2016, he would be the president right now. I
But
guarantee it.
but he didn't. And in the ensuing 4 years, Trump has basically galvanized his base and support. Okay, so it's too late to talk about that.
I still think he's going to win the
Okay.
nomination.
Okay, yeah, I mean, and that's an opinion. Okay, cool. I think it's gonna be a really close fight between contest between Joe Biden and Bernie to see who picks up the most delegates. And it wouldn't surprise me if they're like 3 percentage points within each other at the end of the day, plus or minus three.
I don't necessarily want him to win the
Okay.
nomination. I just think he will.
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm not saying I
Yeah,
want him to be the nominee. I just think he will
yeah.
be.
I mean, Yeah, people like Joe Biden, okay, but are people enthusiastic about Joe Biden? He doesn't
No.
have the grassroots support, okay, as a Bernie
I think
Sanders or even Andrew Yang does, okay.
are more enthusiastic about voting against Trump than they are voting for Joe Biden.
And
That's
that's
my
and
opinion.
that's the problem, Felicia. That's what Hillary was going after, the general electability argument. Oh yeah, I
The
know.
first
Yeah. People will
voting,
never vote for Trump. Hillary's there. Okay, I mean, it's the same
the only
argument.
time
Okay?
I
It did not work.
was
It
because
did not work.
I was like, I can't stand Trump, so I'm gonna vote
Okay.
for Hillary against Trump. It's the first time I ever voted. I actually registered to vote because he upset me so much.
Okay.
Saying. So I
Okay.
believe
Okay.
vote against Trump is stronger than the vote for any of these candidates, except for Bernie, which
I
we'll get
think
to.
yeah. I mean, I disagree. I think voting on a basis of general electability is the wrong move. I think that's what the establishment is trying to push on the people, that you have to vote for this candidate because otherwise Trump will win. I think that is a false narrative. Okay, and it may turn out to backfire on them.
No, I just don't. I don't think he
Okay.
has like the like. I agree. People aren't super excited about Biden, but people are super excited about voting against Trump. That's undeniable.
People voting for Trump are just as excited, Felicia, to vote for him.
They're not
Okay.
going to get to vote right now though because they're not going to
No,
be in
no,
Iowa
yeah,
caucus, right?
but in a general, but you're making the argument that it's a general election argument against Trump. Okay, that's your
Mhm.
argument. I'm saying that.
I generally think that a lot of people will come out of the woodworks who haven't voted before just to vote against Trump. I absolutely think that.
Okay, we will see. Okay, anyway, let's get into our
Especially given how
final
much
candidate
he's changed over the last 4 years.
and the person who's leading the polling in Iowa, and that's Bernie Sanders with a 23.8. His central issues, we talked about it already: Medicare for all, single payer Medicare for all, free college tuition, and curtailing the influence of billionaires. Okay. He doesn't like rich people. Anyway,
He's a rich person.
he's a grumpy uncle at the dinner table who doesn't like rich people.
He's a rich person now, so he hates himself.
Yeah, he's the Larry David
He made a bunch of money off that.
of of the field. Anyway, who would like this candidate? Converts to the idea of universal health care and higher taxes for the wealthy. Okay, and establishment millennials. Okay, just like Andrew Yang. Disaffected Trump voters, just like Andrew Yang. Um, who will avoid this candidate? Big business. Clinton fans who are still hurting over her loss. And we know one person whose initials are HRC who is still hurting over her loss and still blames Bernie for that. And people put off by the socialist label because he does declare himself as a democratic socialist. I think that might be his biggest weakness in a general election
Yes,
because
I agree.
DJT will be all over that statement.
Yeah. He'll
Okay.
be like, commie. He's a commie. He just said it.
Yeah, which is
That's
completely different than a democratic
they
socialist.
are different, but most
But
people.
the general electorate doesn't know that. Okay,
Yeah,
so.
I couldn't believe last time you're like, because communist is bad. So they say. I was
Hmm.
like, I
Yeah,
think it's pretty bad, bro.
yeah, and Kev, yeah, I agree about the mistake about not attacking the establishment Dems. I think he made a mistake by apologizing to Joe Biden about about the commercial, uh, detailing some of his voting records, about Iraq and Social Security. I think he made a mistake by apologizing about that. I don't think he attacked Elizabeth Warren strong enough in the last debate about that, accusation of sexism. Uh, yeah, I think that might be an issue. It appears weak, unfortunately, in my opinion. As a no, as a candidate, that would appear very weak to me. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's a toss-up between Bernie and Joe Biden in terms of the most delegates in Iowa, Felicia.
Yeah.
Plus or
Well,
minus three
they,
percentage points.
they both have the name recognition. There's no question.
Yeah.
Like everybody knows
Hmm.
who Bernie Sanders is, and everybody knows who Joe Biden is.
Yeah.
So that helps them, and he still got the coalition from
Yeah.
2016.
I mean, the thing I admire about Bernie Sanders the most is that he's never wavered from his core ideas and core philosophies in 40 years.
Yeah, it doesn't
So
mean
we
I agree
know
with him, but he
we
does.
know he's not a hypocrite. Okay, we know that he's not a
No,
hypocrite.
he's been the same person his
Yeah,
entire political
exactly, and
career.
that matters. That matters to me as a voter. It
Yeah,
matters. It matters to a lot of, I think, anti-establishment millennials as well.
Compromise a little bit to get stuff done, though, and
So
I think his
yeah,
his unwillingness to
yeah,
compromise.
but I mean,
Argue sometimes.
I mean, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders are locks, right? I mean, they are going to be viable right away after the first round. So we know that they're going to pick up delegates. We know that they're going to basically be viable in all precinct locations across the whole state. So I mean, we're not worried about them picking up
My biggest
delegates.
worry about
Mhm.
Bernie,
Yeah.
honestly, is
Mhm.
that he'll do like not him, but
Mhm.
if he doesn't win the nomination, his voters will might get a little nasty.
Yeah, Jake Cruz about his immigration stance. That's really
Like
that
I hope he just doesn't. Good.
really a weird thing to say because immigration is very touchy because the whole party, the Democrat Party, is trying to push this open border platform, you know, to the electorate. And what do you do if you don't support a key platform of the Democratic Party? I think he's in a rock and a hard place that he has to say something about open borders and that he sort of supports open borders. Um, it's tough. That one issue is very tough, especially with what you know our president has done with his immigration
Babies.
policies. It's tough to support the same type of
As a baby
policies as
who was
him.
taken from my mommy and put
Yeah,
not in a cage but in the system, yeah, that upsets me.
yeah.
The baby cages.
But
Oof.
but you know what? It really is a key talking point amongst all the Democratic candidates. I mean, they all say that they're for open, for open
Okay,
borders
no one
and stuff
says
like that.
they're
They,
for
they
open
do,
borders.
they do, Felicia.
No one has
That
said
is party
no, you said
platform, okay?
one candidate saying I want open borders. They might be for decriminalizing border crossings, but
No,
no one said that.
they're saying they
Anytime
want
anyone ever said open
they're
borders was
they're
that one
they're saying
candidate
open
speech for
borders
Hillary.
because the establishment pushes that
I've never
narrative.
seen them use
Listen, listen.
borders.
They're saying open borders because the establishment wants them to support it because that's in
Can you show
direct.
me clips
No,
of these
listen,
candidates
because that's
all
in
saying
direct
open
contrast
borders?
to Donald Trump. That's the easiest way for people to
No.
delineate
They
Donald
might
Trump
want
and
less
themselves. Okay.
strict, they might want more lenient
Hmm.
policies. There's a difference between a lenient policy and open borders. There's a difference. No Democrat is
No,
going
a
around saying
a
they
lenient
want
policy.
there's you name you show
I
me
I've talked about this before. A lenient policy like decriminalization that opens up lawsuits. Okay, because basically what you're saying is that if you decriminalize illegal immigration, are you thus saying that we cannot deport them because it's decriminalized? You're opening up a bunch of legal issues with illegal immigrants that way by
I just
decriminalizing.
think it's not accurate to say that Democrats are for open borders. They might want more immigration, more legal immigration, or to make it easier to immigrate. But
Yeah,
to say that
yeah, exactly, Jake. I totally agree with you.
that's
I mean, their policy is open borders. I mean, their stated policy is open borders because that's
I
the
don't
only
believe that.
that's the
I do
only
not.
way. That's the
I
only
feel like
way they
people
can.
can take it that way, but I don't think that it
That
means
is the
open borders.
only way that they can delineate themselves and contrast themselves with Donald Trump, Felicia. Okay, that is the
I
only
strongly
way. And people have such a big, strong feeling about immigration, that it basically
see Bridges on my
is
side
one
here.
issue.
No, you might people might take it as
Uh-huh.
meaning open borders, but
Yeah.
like they just want more
Hmm.
immigration, easier for people to immigrate here and make it
Again, once you decriminalize a border,
more
okay,
immigration, in my
once you
opinion.
decriminalize borders, you're opening yourself up
I'm
for
not
legal
saying
issues as opposed to where or not it's legal to deport them. Then, okay, once you
that's
decriminalize
the
it,
whole issue, but I'm saying that
okay,
because they
so
talk
anyway,
about it doesn't mean that that's
uh,
you cannot tell me where in the Democratic camp thingy like their stated policy is open borders. It's not. People just take it as meaning that.
all right.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's get into our last thing. We can talk about this all night, okay? So, but we're
Definitely
talking about Iowa right
immigration
now. So
judges.
we're talking about
That.
Iowa
Why
right
is
now.
that? Does anyone have that as a policy point? More immigration judges, because that will sway my vote.
No, no, no. What he means is that more judges that are Democratic, probably. So anyway,
No, but just maybe think of more immigration drugs because we do need more, not
yeah,
drugs. Judges.
yeah, yeah, Peter. And if you decriminalize legal border crossings, you're opening yourself for an argument that we cannot deport them afterwards. All right.
In your opinion.
Let's get into our last slide here because we're done the candidates. I still think it's Bernie and Joe fighting it out for the most candidates. Who's your dark horse,
Delegate.
Felicia?
The dark horse, we already know the answer here. We both agree on this. We talk about him all the time.
Yep.
It's gotta be Andrew Yang.
Yeah.
He's the big dark horse, no question.
Yeah.
He's fascinating. There's no question. He's genuine.
Hmm.
His policies make sense, and if you listen close enough, you'll see it. And there's just I
Hmm.
don't see anyone who would say no to him. You know, like anyone who listens to what he has to say and how he lays it out, and you can tell me that's a bad plan. You're either too progressive or too anti-progressive. I don't know what to say.
There you
His
go.
plan lets out
Felicia's a
that-
Yang. Felicia's part of the Yang gang, or she's a wannabe Yang ganger
Well,
because
I'm like,
because I've influenced her. I mean,
he won't stop
personally.
talking. We talk about him all the time. Has it made you like Pete talk about him all the time?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I think Yang is the dark horse for this race. Again, the polling numbers are totally underrepresented for him because they don't basically point to his base, essentially, right? I mean, polls do not represent his base. That makes sense. And I wouldn't be surprised if he comes third place statewide, honestly. Because I think Warren and Buttigieg are going to basically be sucked up by Bernie and Joe Biden.
Are you kidding me? This is
What?
dying too.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just
Okay.
the
So,
bad Alicia.
dude, you need to like charge your devices,
John
man.
has been in the middle of this raid doing Warcraft for Eversville. He told me he'd be on his
Okay.
seventh.
Okay,
I'm
so
letting you guys
let's
know
talk about
this.
what's coming up next. Okay, before Felicia's phone dies out, what's happening? Okay, so Monday, February the 3rd, guys, Iowa caucuses. Okay, Democrat and Republicans. Okay, we're not talking about the Republicans because it's a foregone conclusion who's going to be the nominee. So forget about the Republicans. February the
Yeah,
7th is the New Hampshire primary debate.
the 7th.
The 7th, four
What
days
day of the week
later.
is that?
4 days later.
Good Friday.
Okay, February the 11th. That's a week from Tuesday. It's coming up, the New Hampshire primaries. This is the first primary, okay, which is different than the caucus, okay?
So much simpler. I
Okay,
still
so
don't.
much
Do you want
simpler. Basically, go into a
caucus and
voting
have a
booth,
voicemail?
vote in privacy. February 19th, a week after that, is going to be the Nevada primary debate. It's actually a caucus, okay, so that's a mistype there. Debate, okay, that's in Las Vegas. And the 22nd, okay, 10 days later, is going to be after New Hampshire, 11 days. It's going to be Nevada Democratic Caucus, which may or may not be different than what's been done in Iowa. Okay, for all I know, they could have 3 rounds of caucusing, okay, because state rules. Or it just could be 1 round of caucusing. I don't know, honestly. All right, February the 25th is the South Carolina primary debate, okay, which Felicia thinks is the most representative of the general election. And
I do.
and February the 29th is 4 days later is going to be the South Carolina Democrat Party. Question, Kev, yeah, would a caucus be filmed or are cameras not allowed in gyms? I honestly don't know. I mean, I know doors are locked at 7 from people coming in wanting to caucus. I don't know if they're going to have cameras in certain locations. Maybe. I hope so because I think that'd be freaking fun
Private
to
show.
watch.
I'm sure there'll be cameras.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be really fun to watch. Like all the supporters going in different groups, especially the realignment process, right? I mean, you're going to have like
I like
50 minutes. Evidently, that realignment process is like 50 minutes long. So in 15 minutes, you're going to have to like try to convince people to go to your side, you know, stuff like that. It's craziness.
I don't. I'm so happy we have primaries here.
Dude, the caucuses, again,
What do
I
you?
think are like the most representative of what the
Are you?
ancient Greek
Are you?
democracies were
Are
like.
you a Super Tuesday state?
Texas? Yes, it is. It's Super Tuesday.
I'm not a Super Tuesday. I'm the
Yeah.
next Tuesday or the Tuesday after.
Poor you. But anyway, yeah, so on March the 3rd, which is actually a Tuesday, Felicia, is the Super Tuesday primaries.
All these are on Tuesday except for the Iowa, right?
Uh, check the calendar, I think so.
No, that can't be because I'm looking at them and they're all 20. They can't all be Tuesdays.
The 20, but there's a difference between a debate and a primary, okay?
Oh yeah, all
So,
get debate too. Yep.
yeah, so the
They look all set.
29th,
They look like they could be.
the 29th of February is a Saturday vote for South Carolina.
Interesting.
Saturday. The 22nd is a Saturday as
I don't know.
well.
I'm convinced that you always vote on Tuesdays. I don't know what's going on here. I'm
Again,
way
we're gonna,
off.
yeah, but anyway. Um, that is that you never voted in the primary, Bridge? I mean, if you well,
I
go for it. It's
voted in
fun.
one primary once. I
Yeah.
voted in 2016 primary
Mhm.
for Hillary, but she lost, and Bernie won my state.
Mhm.
I voted in the general election
Mhm.
2016, and I voted in the midterms for governor and all the things. I
Yeah.
voted Republican for governor though.
Yeah. I mean, in Texas, you have to be a registered Democrat, and I mean, the only reason why I registered myself as a Democrat only because I think there are a lot more interesting votes that goes on in the Democratic Party during primaries.
See, I wasn't sure how that worked with the midterms. I asked
Yeah.
people because I wanted to vote for
Mhm.
Republican governor, but Democratic
Yeah.
members of Congress.
Mhm.
And I wasn't aware if I could do both, and I was able to do both.
Well, see, New Hampshire is pretty representative because New Hampshire is just like a general election. It's an open primary, so it doesn't matter what you're registered as long as you're registered to vote, you can go in there and vote. Okay,
Really?
South Carolina, I think you have to be a registered Democrat to vote in that one. That's why I'm saying that it may not be necessarily representative of the general electorate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just the numbers stood out to me that they looked more closer to the national numbers.
Well, demographically, it may be it's more diverse, obviously, right? So demographically,
South Carolina is very
it's
diverse.
closer to the national demographics. But I can say the same argument for Nevada too, as being very close to the national demographics as well.
I hope the people I want to vote for stay in the race long enough to make it to my primary.
Okay.
My worry is that like my top three won't make it. Like they'll drop out before the Rhode Island primaries roll around.
I think you're treating this as like a football game. Yeah, no, I'm worried that the team I'm rooting for is not going to make it.
Well, because again, well, here's the thing though. What I think is going to happen is by the time Super Tuesday is
Hmm.
over, most people are going to drop out,
Hmm.
and then it's going to get to my primaries, and all that's going to be left are going to be freaking the three I hate the most. It's going to be just Biden, Sanders, and Warren. I'm gonna be like, I hate all of you.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen, man. By the time the Rhode Island primaries roll around, I'm not even going to want to vote. No one I like is going to be available. I'm
All
telling
right.
you, that's what's going to happen.
All right, guys. So that is all. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We've been going on for almost 2 hours right now, so I guess we did.
Yeah, and
We,
Johnny still hasn't finished his damn dungeon.
we went off on a lot of tangents, a lot of discussions, a lot of good discussions, and guys in the chat, I hope you guys got something out of this. I thought it was pretty fun. Basically, you know, interacting with you because I never get a chance to interact so tightly with the chat as in other
The
streams
closest
as I did
thing he
today.
gets is, yeah, did you watch my video? And then he talks to me while I watch it. It's the closest
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, and with that, I'll see you guys next time. I will be doing a stream right before the New Hampshire debates with John Dalvento, which will be very interesting, and or actually right before the New Hampshire primaries. Actually,
It's gonna be gang love.
he is from Connecticut, a New Englander, and he will have different types of
Connecticut's not like the rest of New England, though.
he will have different opinions than Felicia, the uninformed voter here, and.
But I have to say, as a New Englander, Connecticut is like it's like the black sheep of New England. It
So
doesn't fit the
so
mold.
so with that, everyone, again, thanks a lot for coming out, and I think that's it, Felicia. Any closing words?
Oh man, if everyone I hate drops out by Rhode Island, I'm gonna be devastated.
Oh, really? All right. So with that, see you guys all later. Thanks a lot again for coming out. Bye.
Go Yang.
I'm not going to stop the wheel. I'm going to break the wheel.
Ultra Ninja JK, dupla jinx, bota chakra em cada linha de faca. Face, macramé no micado, passo, espadas por frases. Sintático, repara no que digo, é paradigmático, não tenho paralelo, sou para lá de mágico.
And we are back, guys. We forgot to do one thing, which is what our Super Bowl predictions for tomorrow are. Okay, so it's Kansas City versus San Francisco, the Chiefs against 49ers. The line is about 1.5 points, okay, in favor of the Chiefs, so they're like 1.5 point favorites. Felicia, take it away. Who are you rooting for?
Well, I'm all about that Jimmy G, so I want to see 49ers win. I do. I don't think they'll win, but I want them to win. And I'm just mad the Titans didn't make it or the Patriots. But I will root for San Fran because I'm a big fan of Jimmy G. He was the backup for Tom Brady for a while, so I've got favoritism for him as a former Patriot.
Okay, thanks for being so succinct. And I will go ahead and say the Chiefs will win, and they will actually cover the spread of 1.5 points. So with that, that is it. So again, thanks a lot again for coming out, and we'll go right back into the outro. Sorry about that.
Good night, everybody.
I'm not going to stop the wheel. I'm going to break the wheel.
Ultra Ninja JK, dupla, jinxa, bota, chakra em cada linha de faca. Faz macramé no micado, paz, espadas por frases. Sintático, repara no que digo, é paradigmático. Não tenho paralelo, sou para lá de mágico. Sabes como rolo, martelo pneumático, técnica secreta do monstro roxo. Estamos a meter-nos no dojo, estamos a manter como no jogo, só com uma espada nos tojos. Plano picado, não sabes de onde esta ave vem. Nenhum radar pode detectar onde está a nave mãe, tu sabes bem. Somos a clique, somos o clã. É Monster Jinx cabrão, respeito ao Vasco, comer tartan. Na terra do nunca não digo banzai. Vivo na espunca e tenho um bonsai. Ninja que é ninja, ninja, frotas imperiais. E bate mal, logo bate mais. A minha crew não sem espelhos. Na rua, dragão azul, dragão vermelho. Sento o silêncio. Verso shinobi, nunca me canso. Sou de Nairobi, ágil como um ninja. Rápido como um ninja, letal como um ninja. Brutal como um ninja, fatal como um ninja. Forte como um ninja, secreto como um ninja. Devo mesmo ser um ninja.
Esta é para os meus ninjas, só para os meus ninjas. Onde é que estão os meus ninjas? Ninjas, 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 ninjas. Esta é para os meus ninjas, só para os meus ninjas. Onde é que estão os meus ninjas? Ninjas, ninjas.